Hi, welcome to another episode of In a Week. And in this episode, I will be talking about, so it's going to be learning Japanese for beginners. And whenever you learn a new language, it's always a challenge. You need to understand that it's not just, learning few phrases. It's not just about, I know how to say hello, I know how to say, something in a language, and then you claim to know the language. Knowing a language is actually much more broader than just learning a few phrases. So we are talking about reading, writing, and speaking. And not only that, but also indulging in culture and understanding, different references in culture, literature, and all of that. But first, if you need to learn a language, then you need to understand the script. Now, I started learning Japanese about, I would say, 10 months ago, during the pandemic, when people were working from home, everyone over here in New York, and I had a lot of time after, working from home. You don't have to commute. So what do? So what I did is that I bought a course of all the Japanese books. I researched online to find out the best books that people were recommending. I went to find on YouTube videos as well. There were lots of YouTube videos about what books are the best for beginners, and what, if as you progress in your language skills, what other books will be beneficial to get. So all that research was done, and you can see in the back over here, all these books are actually the ones that I'm reading. Not that I have gone through all of them, but this is all the stuff that I bought. And so today what I'm going to do is to explain to you about my experience and personal journey that started about 10 months ago. So I don't claim to be a Japanese speaker or fluent or in any way. I'm a beginner, and this is my experience as a beginner who is going to talk about his experience and the difficulties that I faced when I started learning Japanese, and some of the strategies that I adopted to help myself go through the language barriers that I encountered. So let's start with the challenges. I actually made a list over here so I can go through them with you guys. So the first, new script, Hiragana, Katakana, and Kanji. For me, it was very challenging because I could not relate to Japanese script in any way. I know Arabic script, I know Latin script, and there's nothing in Japanese that I could relate it to. So when I was learning the letters, it was basically from zero. You have to learn every single thing from zero. So there's no reference point. So that was the number one challenge. Second is new grammar. I have not touched grammar. I have started to learn sentences, and I'm noticing a pattern. Because what I do is that I write them down, since I have mastered the scripts both in Hiragana and Katakana. So I write sentences, and then I look at the sentence and okay, so this is the sentence structure. Where's the verb? Where's how it is arranged? All of those things. And the third, I think, the most important challenge is because I think it's maybe because also we are living during a pandemic time, and there's no one basically to practice Japanese with. If I even want to do that, I cannot do it in person. But here's what I thought. I thought that maybe I can share my experiences on YouTube, online, and maybe because of that, I will be able to get connection with someone who would be able to connect. And I evolved my strategies of learning Japanese language, and these are strategies that when I was a kid in school, teachers used to teach us repetition and memorization. And repetition and memorization helped me a lot in learning languages. And that's the same strategy that I adopted to learn Japanese script, especially, you know, both Hiragana and Katakana. So for the last, I would say, 8.5 months, 9 months, I have just every day consistently practice. And I'll show you guys what I did. So if you notice, this is an example. Like, this is what I do every day. I bought a lot of loose paper, and I basically got myself a clipboard, and this is what I do. I just practice. So it did not stop, by the way. It's not like that every letter that you're seeing over here in both the different scripts on Hiragana and Katakana, I didn't master them in a day. So this was done over a long period of time. I mean, 8.5, 9 months. It took me, so for example, I took and I repeated it, like, you know, page by page. Like, I filled up the full front and back. Then I picked up the second letter E, and I repeated that over and over and over. And then when I learned how to write both A and E, and then I started repeating them both together on the paper, and then repeating them over and over. So that was daily, by the way. It was not like I took a day off from this. Daily, you know, investing at least an hour in just writing them down and practicing. So much so that I finished up, you know, writing the entire script. I learned all the letters. Then the first Hiragana was the first one that I learned, and then I moved to Katakana. Same strategy, you know, taking A and then repeating it, and E and then repeating it, U, and then A, and then O, and then all the other letters, just keep repeating. If I evaluate where I was about 10 months ago, all this was just like a bunch of scribbles to me. And it's exciting because once you know the script, and once you know how to read them, how to write them, and speak them, it's amazing. And I amaze myself every day. You know, reading these is just fascinating, because I remember the time that all of this was just not possible. Like, if you're a beginner, you're trying to buy yourself, you know, books and courses. This is what I did. I'm not sure if it's going to be helpful for you or not, but this is what I purchased, and it helped me a lot. I'm going to show you exactly what these are. These are flashcards. You know, I'm going to show you how. So in the front, they have a flashcard with, you know, the letter, and here on the top it shows you the stroke, like how to draw that. And then they also help you to understand, like, to remember what the sound is like, and they give you an example over here, and they also give a reference in English over here, so you can see that this is a very, like, it really helped me. I think what I did is that when I was learning and I was practicing it over and over, I used this card. Like, I would just pull one of this card out and I would write it down. I would look at the card. I would look at the strokes over here for writing the letter, and I would follow that, because it's so important that you follow the same exact pattern in the stroke, you know, making these letters as it's supposed to be, instead of just making your own inventions about how you write something. So I followed it by the book, like, and these were so helpful. And I would say that if you are trying to learn, like on the back you can see that this is katakana. You know, this is the same way. The stroke is right here. You have the letter to tell you exactly what to remember the letter, like in English, and then, you know, reference in English like A or something like that. You know, it's just amazing. I mean, it really helped me. So this product was definitely very helpful. And it's a deck of cards. It's all flashcards. You know, you can buy them from Amazon, and it'll be pretty good. So I will definitely write the name of this product in the description. But look, the same thing that I have the cards over here, I bought the book over here. It's like Learning Japanese, Hiragana, and Katakana. I think this was a recommended book. I really frequently used it as a reference point to learning letters. You know, it does the same thing. It shows you the strokes, it shows you the letters, and it also has this vocabulary. Like it builds your vocabulary, shows you how to write different words over here. And then if you can see the second section over here is from Katakana. This would be my second reference book. The cards would be my primary one. I mean, the main reason was that these images, like even on the card you can see these images, like ku, like, you know, making a little bird beak over there. So it helps you understand better and remember better. Memorization, definitely. Memorization was key. But most with the repetition, just writing it out. And as I'm writing them out, I'm also pronouncing them in my mind. Like I'm not just simply writing them. So I'm connecting the two. I'm connecting the pronunciation with the writing. So it's not like, you know, because you can write them down, you know like how to write something, but it doesn't mean that you know what it sounds like if you don't do those two things together. So it's extremely important that you keep that in mind, that when you're writing something down, repeat it. Like this is a strategy that really helped me out. Patience is key. I have seen so many people, you know, YouTube making videos like learn this language in, you know, week or a month or something. I'm a practical person. I have never encountered, like, I don't know, I would personally speak for myself, anyone who has learned a language within 1 week, and I'm not sure exactly what their definition is of learning a language. I mean, it's such a broad, you know, sea of knowledge that when you learn another language, it's not just about saying hi, or, you know, how much is this, or if you go to a shopkeeper, that's like a minor communication that you know how to do because you memorize something, but that's not learning a language. Learning a language means reading, writing, and speaking. And this is what we are doing right now. We're discussing for beginners who are really interested in, you know, learning the language, a Japanese language. With all these three, reading, writing, and speaking, what is the process? So this is the process. Right now, I have only accomplished a little bit, a tiny, like what's a fraction of it. But it's an important tiny fraction, because if you don't know the script, you cannot read. And I don't like to, like, there are a lot of books that are out there in which it shows you like the transliteration in English, and then you would read the transliteration, and then, you know, you would say, okay, this is what it sounds like. And I mean, I'm not saying that they're not helpful, but I don't want to rely on it. So if you know the script, you know that you're now thinking in Japanese. You're now learning in Japanese. You're not using a foreign language to learn another language. It's good, it's a good reference, but it's not, for me personally speaking, it's not a very practical thing for long-term learning. Like, it took me 10 months, but I'm dedicated. I practice it even today. And there are times that, you know, if I haven't repeated it, let's say if I skip a day, it happens once in a while, I didn't do it, it slips off from my mind. Like, I would know a letter in either a script in Hiragana or Katakana, and then one time I was like, wait a minute, how do you write that? How do you write that? It slips. And that tells me that I still have not come close to just, you know, mastering them as a native. So patience is key. So don't think you will accomplish this within few weeks or few months. Give yourself time. Make sure that you go and practice and over and over, and I am pretty sure that you will accomplish that. Genki was very much recommended by a lot of people who said that this is a very good book. A lot of schools who are teaching Japanese are using Genki. So I just went with Genki and I purchased it. I would say for a beginner, it's a pretty good book. I mean, based on whatever I go through in the future, I will recommend you more things, or I will evaluate the usefulness of these books based on my experience. But so far, I am on Genki 1. These are also the books that were recommended. This is the kanji one, but this is the one, I would say. This is the one, Japanese from Zero. And you know, this is also a good book, but I don't use this book as a primary book to learn the language. I just use this book as a reference book. You know, if I need to understand a concept clearly, I would use it. The other book that I have, I purchased this. I haven't really gotten into grammar too much, but A Guide to Japanese Grammar. This is a book that was recommended by people online very highly. They said that this is a very good book. If you want to learn Japanese grammar, please purchase this. It will be very good. So I bought that. Then I also purchased the Japanese dictionary. And basically for me to build my vocabulary, it has, you know, words in Japanese, and then they are written in English, the translation. So this is one of the other books that I purchased. It's pretty good too. So this was my Japanese course. I mean, it's a lot to do because during the day, you know, you have work, you have other things, and then you just want to devote at least some time of the day to do what you like to do. And I like to learn Japanese language. So at least an hour, I would say, I devote every day to learn this. So this was my experience so far learning Japanese for the past 10 months. If you have any experience, you know, learning Japanese, if you are already fluent, I would like to hear from you in the comment section. Please let me know what you guys went through, what you did to improve your Japanese skills, what kind of challenges you encountered when you were learning Japanese. So on that note, keep in touch, and I will see you in the next episode in a week.